Hey yo, what up? It's your boy. You know what's one thing I really love about Japan, other than the food and the culture and all the obvious things that people love Japan for? It's the fact that Japan comes out with some of the craziest news stories, some of the craziest articles I've ever heard, which is good because that's just more constant content for this channel. And not only are these articles interesting and fascinating, at least for me, and something that I feel like would be fascinating and interesting for my audience as well, but it's also a good way for me to kind of think more deeply about how the culture works, how the people operate in this very unique collectivist society that we call Nippon. So to cut to the chase, I own my iPhone right here. It's a great phone. I enjoy it. I don't care if you're an Android user. I don't care if you're an Apple user. I don't care if you're the 1% that uses a fucking Google Pixel. Whichever side you swing the bat, there is not a shadow of a doubt that iPhones in particular are very high commodity. You can even call them the hype beast of smartphones. And recently speaking, the latest iPhone, as of me recording this video, if you're watching from the future, I don't know what the latest one could be, but as of right now, the iPhone 13 is hot commodity. It is hot chips on the table waiting to be feasted on by the tech-savvy nerds and the hype beasts of the iPhone and smartphone community. And the same thing is kind of happening in Japan. There are a lot of scalpers and there are a lot of people who are trying to sell off iPhone 13s, whether they are being used or they're brand new and stuff like that. You know, this is a very common thing, especially in Japan, where the second-hand reselling nature and industry is massive. There are so many second-hand shops in Japan, and when we think of second-hand, we usually think of like really just like barely put together, really crummy, shitty quality. But I feel like in Japan, there is really not a massive difference between something that is first-hand, like fresh off the press, and something that is second-hand, that is passed through the hands of somebody else, other than the fact that it is passed through the hands of someone else. In terms of the quality of the product, you can very rarely, unless it is like really damaged, it is very rare to find something second-hand that is really shit quality. Most of the time, it's really goddamn good quality, and anyone who's gone shopping in Akihabara or any kind of secondhand store in Japan can definitely attest to that. But there is one other unique aspect to Japan's secondhand buying and selling industry, and it's the fact that a lot of it works on a trust system, and Japan definitely, in a lot of aspects, work on a trust system, but perhaps that trust system is a little too fragile at times, because there was this piece of news that came out that some random, you can call him Fivehead, you can call him a criminal, I don't really care, but there was this dude who decided, hey, I am going to go to a second-hand seller and buyer of technology, specifically smartphones and iPhones, and I am going to sell off what I am saying is a never opened before iPhone 13 inbox, which is like basically the equivalent to finding gold in the mines. And so what this guy did was he took the box, an unopened box for an iPhone 13, brought it to a secondhand seller. They said, okay, it is an unopened box. We can confirm because of the sticker in the back that it is an unopened box for an iPhone 13. We will give you 100,000 yen for it, which is roughly $1,000. But lo and behold, as you can see from this TBS article photo right here, they were hard debated when they opened up the box to check the contents. 3 days later, they found not an iPhone 13, not even a used iPhone 13, but rather a set of magnetic weights. Basically, they were scammed into rebuying secondhand what they thought was an unopened iPhone 13 box, when in reality, it was nothing. And as I read further into this article, the more just, I guess, quote-unquote, ingenious this plan was for this guy to do this, they found out that the guy had meticulously put in just enough magnetic tape into the box to simulate the exact same weight of an iPhone 13 inbox. As you can see from this image of the two put together, it is practically the same. And the fact that, again, they had an unopened iPhone 13 box, they couldn't actually open the box to check its contents because otherwise it would devalue the product. It would turn from an unopened iPhone 13 to an open iPhone 13. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, then how the hell did this guy manage to create an unopened box with the seal and everything, and yet somehow managed to switch out the contents of the box with a bunch of magnetic tape. This particular problem comes back to Apple's manufacturing of the iPhone 13 box. See, because before the iPhone 13, basically the iPhone 12 and before, the entire box was covered in plastic, and there was very meticulously crafted peelies and stuff like that to ensure that what you were getting was truly an unopened box, and it was very difficult to replicate those types of full box seals. But then Apple decided, in a fit to try and save the environment by just a tiny little bit, instead of using a full plastic covering on their iPhone boxes, they have switched to this thing right here next to me, which is a tiny little tag just at the bottom of the back of the box, where you peel that off at the green arrow right there, and then it allows you to fully open up the box. This was a plan that Apple decided to incorporate with the new iPhone 13 to basically save on plastic waste. They did, they're trying to save those turtles out here, those Apple people. Good on you, man. Steve Jobs is clapping in his grave right now. But here is where this guy managed to come up with his genius idea, because what they actually found out later on, when they were kind of looking into how this guy managed to pull off this scam, was that if you go onto sites like Amazon or eBay or anything like that in Japan, and you look up iPhone 13 seal sticker, then you can actually buy those exact same stickers just by themselves for, as you can see, really freaking cheap. You can get like, what, a set of like 2 or 3 of them for like $10, as it says on this screenshot right here. Now you might be thinking, who the fuck is buying just like these stickers? Like they clearly must be made for these kinds of scams, right? Well, no, actually, Japan, in all of its cute wholesomeness, says that the reason why these people are selling these kinds of stickers for these boxes is not so that you can make some kind of elaborate pawn shop scam, but rather people can buy it and put it on their currently opened iPhone box, slap it on the back like it used to be, so that they can simulate the graceful feeling of having to open up a fresh iPhone box. Basically, they are selling these stickers so that you can relive the peelies. And look, as a massive advocate for peelies, you've seen enough footage of me on the internet right now. Every time I'm fucking taking off a peelie, I am doing it at the slow grace of a calligraphy artist. Like that shit is orgasmic to me. So I totally understand where this market would come from. But I guess no one really thought about perhaps the fact that they have made these resealable stickers in the exact same way as how Apple will do it, maybe with the slight difference of the fact that the print might not be as clean as what Apple is producing. And that's actually how later on they figured out that perhaps this might be not a real resealable sticker, perhaps it's a scam. As you can see on this picture right here, the top image in the red box is the actual proper Apple produced resealable sticker fine print, and the bottom one is the fake ones that you can buy on Amazon. As you can see, the quality is a bit different. It's like going from 720p to 240p. Not only that, but this guy is probably like the fucking Kaito Kiddo of Japan, because he managed to fully erase all of his tracks. So usually when you go on to do these kinds of like pawning activities in Japan, reselling or rebuying things, you usually have to put down your information, your name, your address, your phone number. I mean, this is Japan, so literally every time you go buy a hamburger, you need to fucking sign some kind of contract with blood. But smartly enough, or cunningly enough, this guy managed to create a fake name, a fake address, a fake phone number. Basically, even though this guy was captured red-handed on the security camera in the store, because all of his information was faked, he basically got away with it. So with all that information out of the way, here are my 2 cents on this news. Number one, I am not advocating this behavior whatsoever. It is clearly a crime. It is clearly a scam. So don't get any fucking funny ideas from this video. This is not the purpose of me making this video. I wanted to just share this piece of news with you guys because I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was, in one sense, super smart, but also super shitty. I know that for a lot of people, $1,000 is a lot of money, but is it really worth going through all that trouble? You know, scamming people for one is just shit. I mean, it's a fucking criminal offense. And the fact that, again, you've been caught red-handed on security camera means that you can't do this again. So it's just a temporary solution to what is most likely a permanent problem. Like, if you're really that low on cash, don't run to shit like this. Don't do shit like this. Don't commit a crime. This guy's face is known on the security camera footage. So if you went to try and go and do this shit again, an appropriate store or an appropriate reselling store will look at this piece of news and go, okay, I know what this guy looks like now. So if I see anyone that looks remotely like this guy, I know who the fuck I'm calling, and it ain't the Ghostbusters. But on one hand, I think, again, going back to what I was saying at the beginning of this video, I think a big reason why something like this happened in Japan, or managed to happen in Japan, is because of, again, the slight flaws that Japan has with its trust system. People talk about the trust system in Japan all the freaking time, and it definitely is there. Like, Japan does definitely have a massive trust system between, you know, customers and between clients and stuff like that. But I think if you trust someone too much, there's going to be some dickhead like this guy who will try and cheat the system. Because I guarantee that in any other country, like in America or Australia, or, you know, especially like any kind of Western country that doesn't rely on the trust system between customers as much as, say, Japan, this shit would have probably been a lot more difficult to pull off, because this particular store that got scammed has said that in order for stuff like this to never happen again, at least with their store, they're going to start implementing things like x-ray scanning and stuff like that, so that they can actually see the inside of the box without having to open it, without having to lose its value. Which I'm thinking to myself, how are you not doing that from the beginning? I feel that any other pawn shop in any other country would have these backup implementations already installed so that they can ensure that nobody will try and scam them. Because yes, although the trust system in Japan is freaking great, and it makes for some really interesting interactions and Japanisms that, you know, it would be like, this would never happen anywhere else in the world. At the same time, some people might take advantage of that loose system that has very little backup methods to ensure that everyone is being trustworthy, everyone is being honest, and just makes people go all out and go balls to the walls to scam someone into $1,000. Like, a perfect example of Japan having this like really solid trust system is that if you're driving around, for example, I've seen this happen, if you're driving around in like the middle of buttfuck nowhere in like a rice field in Japan, every now and then you will see these like unmanned tents or unmanned shops where it might be like, you know, a bag of tomatoes for like 400 yen or something, or like a leek for 50 yen or something, and it would literally just be like a stall, no one's there, and a little box that says, please put the money in here. And now you might be thinking, right, if you're living in any other country, like, you know, say like, especially like a Western country like Australia or America or Europe and stuff like that, you might think to yourself, how has no one just taken those tomatoes? Like, there isn't anyone there to check if I put the money in or not. It's not like they have like a security cameras there in the middle of nowhere on this hut. So what's stopping me from just taking all the shit? And the answer to that question is, there isn't. But you will very rarely find people who do that in Japan because, again, of this trust system, of this sense of community in Japan that has been slowly built up over generations and generations and generations, and has accumulated into a very tight-knit collectivist society that Japan runs on. And for the most part, this trust system is very good, especially in the pawning business like this, for example. But again, this is one of the few instances where someone has gone above and beyond to try and cheat that system. And I think this piece of news is really important to share, especially among Japanese people and especially among people who work in these kinds of industries, that the trust system can only get you so far. And at the end of the day, people will find a way to try and cheat it, even in Japan. Money is the root of all evil, and sometimes people will do absurd, crazy, just completely, why would you go through all of this trouble just for a little bit of dough? And it's really fucking sad, but it's the truth, and it can happen anywhere. At the end of the day, fuck this guy who scammed a innocent business owner. And now that this has become national news in Japan, I doubt that anyone will ever try and pull this shit off again, because no amount of money is worth committing a crime for. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Let me know what you guys think about this piece of news down in the comments below, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right there to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger. And over here next to my head, a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoy this one, and links down in the description to my Twitter and Instagram, stuff like that. You can also suggest different articles and video topics you want me to talk about in this video, like this one there. But anyways guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.